You may recognize her from The Good Wife, ER, and of course News Radio, but actress Maura Tierney is taking the stage in a brand new way on Broadway. She stars opposite Tom Hanks and Nora Ephron's Lucky Guy. Let's take a look.
Michael and I first met in college.
Syracuse.
At a mixer.
She caused me to spill my drink.
Accidentally.
So I said...
He had the nerve to tell me I had to buy him another one, which I did. And then the rest of the night we laughed and we talked.
Oh, we had a great time.
And we agreed to meet a week later.
On an official date.
So I showed up looking really good.
Here's the thing. There was this sophomore named Lisa.
Here's the thing. He was dancing with another girl. I grabbed my coat, very dramatic, and I walked off.
Nice view. I followed.
We've been together ever since.
So Maura, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your Broadway debut.
Thank you.
And it's got a lot of big names, right? You are opposite Tom Hanks.
A very big name, yes.
And this is Nora Ephron's posthumous Broadway play.
Yes.
You know, so there must be lots of thoughts swirling through as you step on stage every night.
Yeah, I mean, well, yes. Well, because there's a lot of big names, because there's Tom, and then there's George C. Wolfe, who directed it, and then there's Nora Ephron, and because it is posthumously produced, it was a very moving experience, because there's a lot of respect in the room from Tom and George for the work. And then an opening night, they projected a picture of Nora on the stage, and it was really very, oh, that's me.
Yeah, that's you.
How funny.
Yeah, and you know, what drew you to the play at first? You know, how did you approach the role when you found out you had it?
What drew me to the play was I wanted to work with the people involved. That was the main thing, and I wanted to be on Broadway. I'd never done that before, and then I don't know. It was interesting because you know, it is a real woman that I'm playing, but nobody knows who she is. You know, so
really? So Alice McAlary.
Yes.
Is the name of the
McAlary.
McAlary. See?
Yes.
She didn't say her name in the clip I saw. I have to see the play so I can
fine,
get
but
it.
that's a line from the play. Someone
Really?
says his name like that, and he corrects them.
So was that a Tom Hanks line I just said?
You said a Chris McDonald line.
Of course,
I
because
said the
Tom Hanks has...
He knows how to say
his own last name,
Yeah.
of course, yes. So what about, this is a real person you said?
Yeah, Mike McAlary is a real person that Nora Ephron read after he died. He died very young from cancer, and after he died, she read his obituary and got interested in his story because he was a tabloid journalist that won a Pulitzer Prize. And so she obtained the rights to his life from his wife, Alice, and I play Alice in the play.
And how do you relate to her? Is she still alive? Did you meet her?
I did meet her. I mean, I didn't meet her right away. We rehearsed the play for about 6 weeks before, or 8, before we went into previews, and I didn't meet her until we had done a lot of rehearsing, because we sort of wanted to make what was on the page as opposed to just try to copy who Alice is.
And the play itself, someone was to step into the audience, and they're gonna sit down. They don't know what's coming to them.
Yeah.
What can they expect?
It's a really, really good time. My friend said to me, that I thought was a really nice compliment. He said, it's so much fun. It's so much, his girlfriend's name is Jenny. And he said, it's so much fun. At intermission, I forgot that Jenny was sitting next to me. Which I think is a good thing.
Wow.
The play makes you forget who you came there with. Because it's very fast-paced, it's very funny. There's great actors. It's beautifully directed, it's really visual. It's a great play.
So of all the roles you've had in the past, right, on small screen, on big screen, on stage, which one stands out most for you?
That I like the most or stands out most?
You know what? Both answers then.
I love...
The best, the most awful, the craziest?
My job on
just
ER
spill.
was a great gift to me. I loved that job. I loved being on Rescue Me. That was really fun. And it was the first time someone cast me not as like the sweet wife, which I'm back to playing, which is nothing wrong with that. But it was that job was really a lot of fun.
I guess there's Boston background with Dennis Leary there too.
And I loved all those guys, and I played this like rock and roll chick. It was fun.
Yeah, and is there a certain frisson that happens when you get in a room with another Boston person? Because you're from Boston as well.
Can you define frisson?
Just, you know, it's not as much of a spark, but let's say a spark.
Oh,
is there a spark that happens?
Yeah, and plus, like, you know, he like uses like Irish Spring, like he smells like all of my uncles.
Is he walking around carving the Irish Spring soap like they used to have in those commercials?
We were sitting there, I'm like, you smell, what is that? And he said, it's Irish Spring. I said, okay, like it's immediately familiar to me.
So I actually want to ask about Boston itself too, because you know it's been in the news with the marathon bombing.
Yeah.
You know, there's some tweets up here I have from Mark Wahlberg, thoughts and prayers of my hometown Boston today. Ben Affleck, such a senseless and tragic day. My family and I send our love to our beloved and resilient Boston. Mindy Kaling, my heart aches makes for Boston, for my hometown. Dane Cook, my prayers with everyone in Boston now after this atrocious act of violence. So there's a big cadre of Boston folk in your line of work. You know, how did it feel for you when you saw what happened last week?
Well, obviously it's extraordinarily upsetting and sad. But you know, my mother wasn't where she usually is to watch the marathon, and had she been, you know, one of her friends got like some stuff from the explosion in her.
Wow.
Like, she's fine, but so it was scary just on a personal level because it's my mother. But then the whole, you know, it's upsetting. You know, I would have tweeted if I tweet.
Oh, well,
I don't tweet.
and I'd say you're not missing much, but there's plenty out there. Maybe get a handle, we'll throw it on there, and we'll be in touch. But let me ask you another question, because you mentioned with.
And I spoke to my mother and my sister. It was my mother. You know, they couldn't leave their homes. They don't live in Watertown. They live in Boston.
Yeah, but the whole thing was on lockdown.
Yeah.
But the character that Tom Hanks is playing,
Yeah.
you know, he had the person that he's inspired by, right, had cancer.
Yes.
You know, you're very active in cancer awareness, and I think in breast cancer,
Yes.
stopping breast cancer.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm doing the best.
So right, but of course. But you know, what's your involvement with that? How do you become involved in that?
I got involved with a group called Stand Up to Cancer because my oncologist worked with them, and I met this woman named Laura Ziskin who started that organization.
And you said you're an oncologist.
My oncologist.
Which means, do you have a history of cancer as
I
well?
had breast cancer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah. So, and I met this woman, Laura Ziskin, who started this organization called Stand Up to Cancer, which is like this really it's targeted specifically at raising money for research, and they take doctors and they call them dream teams, and they get different doctors that would normally perhaps be competing for money or whatever, and they pool them together and they give them money. And it's a very direct line from A to B, the money to the research. So that's who I work with.
Well, this is wonderful. So happy to have you here. I'm going to try to get tickets to your play. I want to see it. It opened April 1st. It's on Broadway.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Maura, for joining us. This is HuffPost Live. Please keep watching. There's plenty more coming up right next.